Steve, a few words on Tuesday night again, if you don't mind. What a finish!
Yeah, it was a great end to a particularly difficult game. To be truthful, we always knew what the game was going to be like, and we've asked Sam to make a couple of saves, obviously, but overall, to win it with a goal like that would be pretty special. So yeah, nice when you score late on and get a winner like it was. It's not so great gone the other way, but it just puts us back in the mix a little bit. It still gives us an outside chance.
And how about that strike from Jack? Goal of the season contender, surely?
Well, in the context, about time, but which we've been ribbing him about. I think that's his third goal of the season, isn't it? It's his third one now. So, 2-2 for him. So let's hope that continues. But a really great goal, yeah.
Yeah, first in front of the whole end for him and a winner late on. It's stuff of dreams for him.
Do you know, this season, I remember him scoring the last game of the season, wasn't it? Against Brighton. And the whole end. Come on.
Did he get credit?
Come on.
Credit to
He didn't was go on goal, did it?
It might have been, yeah.
Goal.
Keeper.
Yeah, look, he's we all know that he's a Villa fan. So when something like that quite happens, it's great for him. And as I said, he's maturing quite nicely. You don't want to say that with Jack because around the corner he could be late or not to show up or whatever. But overall, he's maturing, which is good. And people forget he's 22, which is quite remarkable.
Another man worthy of a mention, James Bree, wasn't even in the squad to begin with. Had a great game, didn't he?
Well, I think I've said it many, many times, and it was pretty evident the other night that you're only as good as your squad. The manager's only as good as his squad too. And with James, it's stripped to play, and then all of a sudden, within half an hour, he's playing. So it just shows you what can happen. And I thought he adapted himself very well. He's had to be a little bit patient, James, but we always knew, buying him, that he was one for the future a little bit. He's only 19 when we bought him. So like what we've got with a lot of good young players we've got here at the moment, James is exceptionally one of those, and the young players we've got particularly is good for the future of the club. That's for sure.
How important to get that big win at home and start that
Well,
momentum again?
look, we were disappointed the way we'd done against Norwich. So the one thing we all need is a response that you talk about, and I think they knew what to expect physically and mentally from a tough Cardiff team. So it was good to get the response, good to get the win, and sets us up nicely now. Can we now take advantage of it and get ready for Leeds, which is coming tomorrow? They've come thick and fast. I think the fifth game in something like 13 days. It's been a big ask and a big call, but let's hope we can dig deep and find a result tomorrow.
Yeah, we know what's happened since Wolves. How do we go about maintaining those levels now that you've talked about?
Well, I think that's the demand of the Championship, the levels, exactly what you talk about. To sustain them, keep them, because how many times have you heard every manager say it's a physically an enduring season, it's a marathon, and you've got to be prepared to play 5 games in 13 days, for example, at the wrong end of the season. So, after a grueling winter, the way it was, and fixture lists, that's what the Championship throws at you, and it's who can sustain it. And to be fair to Wolves, they look as if they're over the line, so congratulations to them. They've been the best team in the division, and they've been able to maintain their standards. After us beating them, I think they've won 4 or 5 on the spin since. So great response from them too.
And thoughts on the run-in as a whole? Is it just a case of winning our games?
Yeah, you just got to. Can we? Look, it's going to be very, very difficult now. To get to pip Cardiff or Fulham, but we've got to try. We've got to try and put the pressure on if we can, and we know how difficult it is. We've just done it ourselves. We go against Norwich team with nothing to play for, and we didn't get to the levels, and that can happen. So a little bit of pressure applied. We've got to win our own games. We've got to get to the magical points total that we've always set ourselves.
Yeah, Leeds, not a lot to play for. Does that make them more dangerous in a way?
Anybody coming live on the telly, coming to Villa Park, Leeds, I'm sure they'll have a big following. So, when Leeds come to town, they're a big club with a big following, a big history, big tradition. So we can expect a big, tough game.
Yeah, first Friday night game at Villa Park in some time. You looking forward to that atmosphere?
Well, we're back on the TV again. It's quite remarkable, but a night game at Villa Park always seems to bring out the best in us. Touch wood, let's hope that can happen again.
Injury-wise, how's John Terry getting on?
I don't think he'll make it. Still a bit too early for him. Bjarnason's going to have a little go to see how his back was. He had a spasm on Tuesday night, which we just had to get rid of. I'm sure we've all had them, but just doing a warm-up and something clicked in his back. We've got 1 or 2 who we're looking at, so we'll not know until after training today. We're training at 2 o'clock.
What's the latest on Axel? He had to go off in the first half.
Yeah, I don't think he'll make it. He's twisted his ankle in the challenge. It's a shame for Axel because, you know, he hasn't had much luck in terms of injuries. So hopefully we can get him back to fitness levels again and get ready to go in a couple of weeks.
And last one, Alan Hutton.
Hopefully we're training the back end of next week. That's what I've just been told this morning.
Okay, just lastly from me, the under-23s made it through to Premier League Cup semi-final earlier this week. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I've said from the moment I walked in here, Kevin, his people, and the academy, and all involved, they're a breath of fresh air to watch. We've got some good players in it. It doesn't surprise me that we've reached the semi-final. You know, if we put an under-23 team out of what we've got, and we're strengths of those who are not involved in the first team, then we've got some really good young players, and as I've said many times, the future is very bright, and I'm delighted for all of them to get through the semi. So doing well in the league as well. So you know, it's good for the first team to be doing well, and it's good for the under-23s to be doing well too.
Cheers, Steve.
Cheers.
Steve, in the context of the Championship and recent history, how good is that Wolves side, that Wolves squad? Is it the best we've seen for a while?
Well, there's even 30-40% of them what they were here last year too. You know, Conor Cody, the captain, who's gone into a different position and done very well. The right wing back, Doherty's been, for me, as good a player as anybody in the Championship of what I've seen this year. So the so-called unsung heroes, of course, we talk about Neves and we talk about, you know, the other boys who've come in from playing in the Champions League. So, but overall, you have to say well done to them. You know, it would take an almighty crash now, and I don't expect it to happen. And consistently wise, you know, they've been, you know, to get the accumulating of points of what they've got now, we're still 4 or 5 games to play, is testament to that. They're a very, very good side with some very good players, and there's times like now where you have to congratulate them and say well done. They've been by far the best team in the league.
That goal from Neves last night, did you see it?
I've seen it. Well, I heard it on the radio first and then seen it last night, but some goal.
The win for you, I know it was a key one for you in keeping you up there, but I wonder psychologically as well, for your squad and for theirs. You know, you could face them again in the playoffs at some stage.
Well, do you know the one thing about the Championship, which, I mean, Fulham have been on an unbelievable run, and so has Wolves consistently wise, is you do get this spike, you do get an up and down, and that's what makes it the challenge it is. And so whether it's psychologically, we've got to try and really benefit from winning the other night by winning tomorrow. And if we can apply that little bit of pressure, it's always difficult to play football when you're under pressure. And that's why you get the crazy results at this part of the season. So all we can do is try and win our games. We needed a lift after Saturday's display at Norwich. We all agree it wasn't good enough. We're nowhere near where we should be. Thankfully, we've had a good response again, and that's key. And that little inconsistency will start, and then that week after Wolves, that week has probably dented us in terms of getting automatic. But, you know, as I've said many times, we're there. We've been there or thereabouts, and we've been there or thereabouts now since Christmas, and still got a chance. And if we have to go through the playoff route, then let's go through the playoff route. Why not?
I know you said after the QPR defeat, after the Norwich defeat, you said you wish you'd freshened it up a little bit, but you wanted to stick with the team that had done so well against Wolves. I wonder now whether you look at it and think, you're expecting this season probably to go into extra time now, that's the likely thing to happen for you. Do you have to start managing the squad a little bit and maybe resting some of the big players?
Well, the first thing we have to do is we can't give up. We can't give up, and we won't give up on trying to get promoted. Now, it's a big ask. 5 points to make up with 4 games left, but you look at the fixtures and you say, well, they could easily we just lost 2 in a week. So if it can happen to us, it can happen. So that's got to be our immediate focus. after that, if we cement we're placing the playoffs, then of course you can start managing your squad, and that, you know, I kicked myself back to it, Rob, because I should have against QPR. Is the biggest mistake I made of the season, not freshen us up after Norwich, after Wolves. However, you always learn, and you know, I should have been bigger than being the thought of getting criticised to change a winning team after beating Wolves 4-1. So after the Lord Mayor's show, though, I was wary of it. I was wary of it after the game. Could we get back to the levels? It was practically impossible for us because some had run a million miles. So to beat them, so always a regret, that one, but there you are.
And yet, 2 wins out of 3 against, you know, 2 of the best 3 teams in the division right up there. Actually, what happens between now and the end of the season? Momentum.
Well, momentum's always a good thing going into the playoffs. Although saying that, we went whole through the playoffs and our momentum was non-existent, and we got through. Look, we've got to try and cement it if that's going to be the first objective, and then we're a big club with a big support and a big following, with, you know, a big history. So let's cherish. If we get there, let's really enjoy it. And as I said, if we have to go through that route, then let's go through that route.
There could be a milestone on Friday, though, because if you win this game, you are guaranteed a place in the playoffs, by my reckoning.
Was that your reckoning?
Have I got that wrong?
I don't know. I've never really looked, Rob. I
don't
know.
I think it's. I worked it out last night. And I think that's right.
You think that's right? Okay.
So actually, you know, if you look at where you were in the start of the season, that'd been an achievement in its own right, wouldn't it?
Well, the first and foremost was to try and stabilise the club to start with, and you know, I think everybody will agree it was a mess, and I think that was vitally important. Then was to put a team together in difficult times too. It's not been easy with the financial fair play and not being able to spend the way most managers would like to spend. We're always greedy in that respect. So we've improved, and we might not have been good enough to go automatically, but we've given ourselves a chance. But on day, we're a very, very good side. So I don't think we don't fear anybody, that's for sure, because we've beaten all the top teams. You know, we've beaten them, and so all to play for. And let's enjoy the challenge of the next few weeks.
And you get your blow in first as well. It's a Friday night.
It's about time. Thanks to you guys. We've been on more than Coronation Street. So, but we do accept that, and it's part and parcel of it. And I think that's the following. I think that is Aston Villa. You know, we are the big club of the Championship.
I know you say it's a trial, and I completely appreciate that about the marathon and 5 games in 13 days. It must be exhausting for you, never mind the players.
Yeah, I've just said that.
But do you enjoy it as well?
Do you enjoy it? You only enjoy it. You only.
This is where you're at your best.
Yeah. If you don't enjoy these moments, then it's pointless being in it. So the last thing I say to the players is please enjoy it, because of all the nonsense last year where it doesn't become enjoyable. You have mid-table, nothing to play for. Can't wait. Everybody's on the beach. We've got something to play for. Let's enjoy the moment of it. I always enjoy the Championship because it's usually it's a fair game. I mean, who would have, no disrespect to Neil, he's done a wonderful job. Nobody would give Cardiff. Nobody said Bristol City. Nobody said Sheffield United. You wouldn't have got them, you know. You wouldn't have got them to be competing for the top 6. That's the beauty for me of the Championship. That's what it is. And it is an endurance marathon, but before you enter into it, you know. So you've got to have a squad here that's capable of maintaining it Tuesday, Saturday. And, you know, that's hard enough for the big clubs. The real big clubs of this country have to do that. You know, the Chelseas and the Man U's and the Man Cities, because they're playing in Europe. So, you know, and that's what makes the great players, because they can handle playing Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday repeatedly. You know, you go up and down in the Championship, and that's where it is.
And finally, there's one subject I need to ask you about: what your policy is on whether you can, how you should come in the changing room before and after a game.
Look, when the future King of England comes and knocks on the door, he can pick the team, he can have the tactics. He had a little earpiece to his, and he said to me, "It's about time we got Codger on, Steve." I says, "I fully agree, sir," and that's what we did. So. Look, it's the one thing it is. I remember taking David Beckham into the dressing room when I was at Hull, and the one thing it does is just relaxes everybody. And I think to the players it was flaming heck. You know, the future King of England standing in our dressing room. So, and he's a Villa fan. And the one thing he knows too is he knows his stuff. So, you know, it's great to have that as your number one supporter is a great thing to have.
Well done, mate. Thank you.
Cheers.